Hello, this is Ivanova Smith, and I'm just going to say 5 things I would like coaches to understand about athletes. Number 1, the mental age theory that a lot of people have been told about people with intellectual disabilities, that mentally we're children. That theory is false and wrong, and actually has done a lot to oppress people with intellectual disabilities. So just understand that and not use that theory to describe any of the athletes, and also to not treat adult athletes like they're children. Because when an intellectually disabled person becomes an adult, they are an adult, and they should be respected as such, and not have the age questioned because of the disability. And so do not use the mental age theory, and respect intellectually disabled adults as adults. Respect adult athletes as adults. They are adults. They can make their own decisions and choices, and they know what they're talking about. And some of us may have behaviors that are, childlike. But, there are people that don't have intellectual disabilities that have a childlike personality, and they are still respected as adults. So I would say, just think of it like that, as it's just a personality trait, but that you shouldn't treat the person like a child if they're not a child. And also use respectful language. Don't talk to them don't talk to an athlete like they're a child. We could listen to the adult voice, and that's what we want. We want to be respected like that, and so that's what I would encourage, is to just respect athlete adults as adults. Number 2 is professionalism for coaches. So take your coaching seriously. Don't see Special Olympic practices and Special Olympics as just a recreational charity thing. These are, we athletes, we take, our competitions really seriously, and we want to improve ourselves. We always want to improve ourselves, and so as coaches, I really encourage that you respect that, and you always try to find ways to help us be better in our sports, and use the professional sports rules and guidelines on how to teach those sports, and don't just simplify it because you think, the athletes won't understand. Some athletes may struggle, but there are athletes that they want to learn, and they are willing to take in the time to learn the more advanced techniques of a sport. And so I really encourage all the coaches to study up on all of the strategies and all of the different techniques that professional athletes use in their sports, and help teach, Special Olympic athletes those same things. And because we can learn, and just because it takes a little bit more time for us to learn, we can still learn. Number 3 is about if an athlete is having an emotional struggle, or if they're having a meltdown and they're upset about they're upset and they're having a meltdown, don't shame them or make them feel bad for that. Try to give them comfort. A lot of people with intellectual disabilities, sometimes we just have these emotional things that we can't really control, and honestly it's humiliating enough for us when it happens. And so a way to make the thing really better is to really just help the athletes feel that they're safe, and that you're a person that can comfort them and give them peace and not scare them. So like, don't use a gentle, soft voice, but still, respecting, age appropriate. But use a voice that isn't stern and mean. Use soft voice that is respectful. Number 4 is about communication and respecting all forms of communication, and just making sure that when you don't ignore athletes if they are not verbally communicating, because even though an athlete may be nonverbal, they still can communicate in other ways. And so always trying to find those different ways that people communicate, and just learning about the athletes. Ask us, I'm perfectly fine if my coaches ask me questions about my disability. Some athletes wouldn't feel comfortable with that, but it never hurts to ask if you want information to help the person, and I'm honestly really open about that. And so if people want to ask me about my disability, I'm fine with it, and I think that's good for people to learn so that coaches can be better informed. And so not everyone would agree with me on that, but that's just something how I feel. Also, again, with professionalism, don't make jokes at athletes at their practices and compare each other. We try to take, I really want to take my practices seriously as a practice, and I don't feel, comfortable if people are making jokes at my expense and, oh, come on, you need to run faster than that guy's slow. That kind of stuff I don't feel comfortable with, and it kind of puts athletes down. So just try not to do any jokes that would put the athletes down or encourage the mental age theory or anything like that. Now the 5th thing that I have is just respecting people's autonomy and respecting their bodies. If you're trying to help an athlete position themselves, you need to kind of touch them to do that, to get them in position. Ask them first, ask them if they want to be touched, or just warn them, I'm gonna just move you or touch you just to help position you. Explain it to the athlete, and so they know, because some athletes, they would get really scared about that and get confused, and it could just lead to a meltdown. And so it's always good to just make sure to always make sure they're aware that you're always have open communication, and just make sure they're aware that you're gonna touch them in any way. Now it's different if it's an emergency situation, if a person is drowning. Yeah, you need go rescue them. Don't just not save them because they just say to touch you. I understand the situations where that's not going to be, that you will be able to have to, but if the person is not hurting themselves or others, you're just trying to get them into a position better, ask them first and explain to them what you're doing so they know. And so those are the 5 things I just wanted coaches to know and understand about athletes. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.